what's the grand plan? Where are we trying to get to? What does the top of the club game? And I've talked about it before, but it just kind of it struck me just the way that conversation transpired with Sesh going, "What's happening?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he was like, "I don't know either." And I was like, have you heard some chat about what plan they're going? No, I thought you might have, and you just kind of thought it's pretty. And then tying into that, probably 90% of people who follow club rugby in Scotland may not have been aware that it was apparently Cup quarter final weekend this weekend, which was a complete. So the cup was on and off and on and off when they got rid of Super Six, and the solution was to create a 12-team Premiership. Premiership clubs were saying, our season schedule's already too busy, we can't fit it in, so they weren't going to be in the cup. And then the National One, they decided to have a couple of the National One, and the Premiership clubs could opt in if they want. And most of the Premiership clubs said they weren't going to opt in, except from Heriots and Ayr, who were going to enter what they called it, would have been a kind of under 23 team, but it's probably more of a development, basically a second string team. So they entered, but in the end, only 5 National One clubs entered. So you ended up with 6 teams in the cup, the Scottish Cup, and subsequent to that, one dropped out, so we're down to 6, and then Gala. I can't remember the whole team. Gala were meant to be playing Heriots, but they called off, said insufficient numbers. So basically, we got to the point, the quarterfinals, with 2 games go ahead. Ayr lost to Dundee, who've just been relegated out of National One, I think, and GHA were playing. I haven't even checked the score of that, but that probably sums it up. And this is the Scottish Cup, and then so there's going to be a semi-final at some point, and then the 19th of April, it's Cup Finals Day, and you think about what the cup should be,
Oh,
and
it's such a
what we've
highlight
got
in
now.
previous years.
Yeah, and it's just that. I mean, to be honest with you, Stuart Cameron, who does Borders Rugby Radio, he sent me a message saying that they discussed it on their podcast, on their show, and he was wondering if I was going to write about it, and I probably will. This, with best will in the world, this shouldn't be recorded as a proper cup. Like when at the same time as like Hoyk, when they won it, that first one in '96, was it? And
Yeah.
there's 20,000 people there. This is just it's a shambles, and I don't mean that against the teams that are playing in it, but it just kind of highlights to me how the top of the club game. Well, I think there's problems all the way down the club game, but the top of the club game is just drifting. There's no vision. There's no leadership. We don't know what we're trying to do. And I think the Premiership, there's some great stuff in the Premiership. It's great to talk about it. I really enjoy going along and reporting on it. But what are we trying to do with it? And what's the future for Ayr? What's the future for Heriots? If Hoyk do need to kind of have a moment of reckoning and reinvigorate and work out how they're going to become the dominant force in club rugby again, a dominant force in club rugby again. Like, what are they shooting for? They don't how do you build a plan to reinvigorate rugby in your town when you don't know what the whole ecosystem looks like? Next, on the 5th of April, it's semi-final day. You've got Dundee playing GHA and Glasgow Accies playing Heriots. And then they'll go on to finals day at Murrayfield on the 19th of April. And there'll be very little interest in it, to be honest with you. It's a real shame because it's a non-event, really, if we're being brutally honest with it. And it just kind of sums up the general state of rugby at that level at the moment, or the lack of focus or vision or whatever it is, which is, it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed really quickly and with some real kind of sensible, hard thinking. Yeah, but we did ask David Nusafora when we spoke to the press back in December, and he said he sees his job kind of reaching down to the academies, the club games separate from that. It's really important there's a strong club game, but that's not his job. I just don't think we're a big enough country to do that. I don't think we've got the resources to expect. We need the 18, 19-year-olds to have somewhere to play good rugby, and we're not necessarily offering that at the moment through the Premiership, and I don't see any other vehicle to doing it. We're not going to be big enough to, yes, we need to. It needs a more joined up approach, and it needs somebody to be responsible for it. Is it the Club Rugby Board? They seem very busy, just trying to work out the funding. They've got, they're dealing with everything from the heirs of this world down to, regional, the bottom of the regional leagues, and there's nobody. I just think that we just need to kind of really have a think about what we're trying to do, because if we don't have a vibrant top end of the club game, then it's a slippery slope.